This is not the best way of earning popularity, of course, but I actually joined the Conservative Party deliberately to vote for Rishi Sunak to be our next Prime Minister. He didn't get in, of course. Liz Truss won the premiership in the Tory party internal election for who was going to become party leader, but that's the reason why I joined the Conservative Party to vote for our first non-white Prime Minister. But yeah, I don't know how he's faring at the moment. Poor old Rishi. Rish. I don't know how it's going for him. He's had a lot of controversy. There's been quite a bit of scandal, hasn't there, to do with his wife and her non-dom status, and this tax avoidance stuff that's been going on, I think. And then there's the Rwanda plan with the refugees being sent to Rwanda. That's proved extraordinarily unpopular. And do I see him winning the next general election against Keir Starmer? No. Very simply, no, I don't. I think he's divided the Conservative Party, or the Conservative Party has become divided. There's now this Reform UK party, which is doing quite well. It's taking away the majority of the votes of people who really want to follow through with Brexit and, get them out of the country, right? And by them, I mean anyone who's a non-white, person or non-indigenously British person, get them out of the country and yeah, I don't, goodness knows what would happen if they were in charge. So yeah, like he's a good dude. I think you can tell he's a good guy. I think he's coming from like a place of centrist, sage, albeit right wing politics, and he's not a bad hand to have on the tiller, so to speak. But he's failing to unite his party. He's failing to galvanise Conservatives under the umbrella of the Conservative Party, as opposed to this other Reform UK party, and he's failing to inspire people, I think, to continue voting Conservative. And I think the overwhelming likelihood is that Keir Starmer is going to be walking through the door of Number 10 within the next year or so. So yeah, I don't mind poor old Rish. I think yeah, he's his heart's in the right place, isn't it? I think it's just then there's the snakes in his party like Suella Braverman and the others who are just like typical, well, fascist style Tories, more like. And I think he's failing to control those on a certain level. And I think he's doomed. He ain't coming back. Well, I mean, what would need to happen for the Conservative Party to retain power at this point, given everything that's happened, given Brexit, given HS2, given austerity, given the bankers' bonuses things, even back in the day. On what level could we really forgive them at this point? It's like, I don't think it's going to happen. I really, really don't. I think everyone now, every thinking person now, more or less, is on the side of, well, the logical side that this band of crooks has been fucking us up for too long, and we have to get rid of them. We have to get rid of the Tories. We have to get them out of power. And for all intents and purposes, it seems as though the Tory party has collapsed under, was it Boris, Theresa May before him, Liz Truss, doing her goodness only knows what sort of economic policy. I don't know what her economic policy was exactly. Like crash the country's economy so that it builds back better or something like that, or deliberately crash the country's economy so that we build something better out of the ruins of it. Was that her logic? Did she want like rioting in the street and food shortages? I don't know what Liz Truss wanted. I've read up a little bit on her economic policy, and sort of LSE economists seem to think that it would lead to total disaster. I think it's like some sort of stagflationary cycle that it would induce or something like that. and Rishi Sunak's management of the economy it's actually been okay. It's not been too bad. I mean, inflation hasn't risen too much, has it? I think, yeah. I mean, he's certainly an economist. He's certainly got that element of his brain very, very sharply focused on the economy and doing things in that regard that are healthy for it. But really, he needs to win over people. He needs to win over people and gain popularity. And I just have the sneaking suspicion that there's one trump card that they're sitting on, that Rishi Sunak's sitting on. And I'm tempted to say, as soon as the general election is announced, they'll legalise cannabis, or they'll decriminalise cannabis, or something like that. And then there'll be a major boost to the economy, of course. Major boost to the economy with taxable revenue, and that could save us. Well, it would save us. Legalizing weed would help with huge amounts of different things. The product would become safer for one thing. That means less people admitted to psychiatric hospitals, less pressure on healthcare. Hence, it would give a sizable source of taxable revenue for the country, aid health, social care, education, a whole lot of it. Yeah, that would be a really great thing if they were to do that. If you were to do that, I'm afraid to say I might vote Tory. If you were to decriminalise cannabis 6 months before the election, or as soon as the election is announced, or whatever, if that is indeed the trump card he's sitting on, then I'd be very tempted to vote Tory indeed. Yeah, but let's see if that happens. That'd be a glorious day for Britain if that were to happen. You would see dramatic positive changes here overnight, I reckon. Crime would be down, obviously. Less money needing to be spent on the police. The police would be able to concentrate on far more serious things, more serious crime. It'd be wonderful. But it is what it is. Come on, Rish. We know you can do it. He's a Hindu. It's a sacred plant in Hinduism. Come on. This is an obvious thing to do. Legalise the herb. Make it legal. Properly this time. Finish the plan that May started. Because she wasn't a bad Prime Minister either. She just got unfairly routed by Boris Johnson and turning the Conservatives against her and her leaving the party and so on. I think that's basically what happened. And Boris weaseled it into power. Then we had the Boris years, and yeah, that was all very weird and not entertaining. And we had Boris's eclipse happened, didn't it? And yeah, Boris's fruits died on the vine. Then we had Liz Truss and now Rishi. I sense good things in Rishi Sunak, I do. I stick up for him as a person. But also he ain't winning an election unless he legalises weed. If he does, he will, I think. If he does do that, I think they would win the election. I think a lot of people would be tempted to say, fair enough, we'll vote Conservative then. I think it would be, he'd certainly give Starmer a run for his money if he were to do that. It would make it possible, it would make it possible for them to win the election if they did decriminalise cannabis or legalised it for recreational use. That's what I think I want to say. It would make it possible for them to beat Keir Starmer. At this point, it's not possible for them to beat him, I don't think. Or it's very, very unlikely that they will.